All right, welcome back to Jonesycast. I'm Jonesy. This is the cast. Essentially, what I do is go through Reddit relationship advice, relationships, ask men and stuff, and do video responses. Um, Please like and subscribe if you like and want to subscribe. If you don't, that's totally cool too. Hey, let's get into it. Posted by user Zeal for Fun 3 minutes ago. How to deal with this misunderstanding. Pretty much, I'm not going to read it verbatim, but if you want to read the full context of the post, please click the link in the description. How to deal with this misunderstanding. My boyfriend, 34 and 28, 28 female, moved into a place together to spend a month in live-in kind of situation. Situation one is essentially the neighbor has gone off, and then the boyfriend, the OP has said that she would tell the cops he's harassing us, which in fact it was harassment. And then the boyfriend has come out and said, if you can do that to him, you can do that to me. He's right. You can. I mean, there you go. I'm not saying you would, but you can. Maybe he has friends that have had people, women in their lives that have pressed false charges, or maybe he's just been listening to too many men's rights activist channels on YouTube. Because, look, it is the case that women sometimes, not all women, let me just clarify. God, there's so many waivers and disclaimers and caveats here, but in the past, there have been cases of women pressing false charges against men. I'm not worried about that because I love my girlfriend and I trust her. I think she's a decent person. I think she uses her brain. I think she understands the consequences of doing such a thing. First of all, it's not a good idea to press charges if they're not real. And the second thing is that she loses everything if she does that. So do I. Anyone does. If you press charges against someone and they're not true, you lose the person, and if it's found out that it's not true, you lose credibility, and you're up for charges as well. So, I mean, you could tell him that, but I don't know if he's going to believe you. Number two, situation two, I was having the hiccups for 45 minutes. None of the home remedies had worked. My boyfriend and I were lying down and watch a movie. He tried to ease my hiccups by pressing down the diaphragm area. It only made my hiccups worse. I've never heard of that as an old wives' remedy. And I requested him not to press me near the breast. He misheard and lashed out. He says that I asked him not to press down on my breast, and that I was trying to make him look bad, trying to make him feel he misbehaved. I told him that it is sweet he tried, but it only made my hiccups worse, but he didn't care. He got up, rolled the bedspread, threw it at my face, and said I shouldn't go near him. Are you dating a 5-year-old? I mean, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that, but this is just childish. I begged him to listen to me. I still had the hiccups throughout. During a time when I needed comforting, he decided to misunderstand and hurt me. I could really use some constructive advice here because I'm feeling being manipulated. What should I do here? Okay, you got a couple of options. The first thing you need to do, though, is you need to figure out if he's being genuine or if he's taking the piss. Like, my question is, does he really believe this shit? Does he really believe that, A, you can press false charges against him, which is true? B, you would press false charges against him, which I assume is not true. If he believes the second one, that's a problem because it means that he doesn't trust you. And it also means that he has probably got a few ulterior motives himself. Here's what I mean, okay? Eddie Murphy had a comedy special in 1987 called Raw. And he talks about the fact that when you start cheating, you start looking for cheating in the other person, okay? And there is also the old wisdom that we judge other people by our own morals and standards. So I will judge you according to that which I would do, or I will judge you according to the results that I want to see. So therefore I assume that you would see them. If he genuinely believes that, That's a real problem for you and the relationship. And you're going to have to do something to figure out how to extricate yourself from that, unless he can be convinced out of his position. But the problem is, if someone can convince you into something, they can convince you out of it. And if they can convince you out of it, they can convince you into it. This young man needs to think for himself. Now, given the fact that he's 34, I'm 33, and I learned to throw away this shit when I was 14, right? So you find yourself in a situation with, it seems, a very emotionally dynamic. The word bipolar has a clinical component to it, and I'm not a psychologist, and I don't have him in front of me. Even if I was, like, I can't give an assessment on that, and essentially no one, without spending hours with him and listening to him, can do that either. I mean, it seems as though he's reacting to something, like something's happening in his life, and he's reacting negatively towards you because of that. People don't just change, okay? People don't just flip on a dime and change for no reason. There is always a reason, whether it's brain chemistry, like the guy that I think Charles Whitman, who got up in a bell tower in a university and started shooting people. He said that he thought he had a brain tumor to do an autopsy after he died, and he actually had a brain tumor that caused, in the very place that causes you to exhibit massive signs of aggression. So it could be chemical, it could be emotional, it could be something out in his life that's happened. He's just had some trauma. Who knows? Like, I mean, what does he do for a living? Is he a police officer? Is he in the army? Is he an EMT? You know, it seems like he's facing something. And there's also the question of, why is he making you the antagonist? Okay. Everyone is the protagonist of their own life. Everyone is the hero of their own story. And he has just, in a sense, made you the antagonist. So I'm very curious as to why that's happened. I would ask that. My question for you is this: do you think you can have a decent conversation with him, in which you two exchange ideas? And that is a real question, just given his past behavior. The question is, do you think you can have a genuine conversation with him and actually get the truth, as opposed to a defensive rant? If you can, that's the way to go. If you can't, well, then it's breakup time. And I don't like saying it like that. But the truth is that without communication and without the ability to and the desire to come together, there's no real hope. Like, a relationship is made up of two people with giving commensurate effort, that adds up to 100. Now, you may be giving 50 and then he's giving 20. That's not a relationship. You know, that's, it's not any kind of relationship I want. So, I mean, my advice for you would be, before you even have a conversation with him, you need to write down what you want out of the conversation that you're going to have with him. Okay. And then after you've written that down and you've really analyzed it, write it down and then think about it, and then come back to it and think about it, and then come back to it and think about it, and then have a conversation with him, and just let him know that you just want to have a conversation. There's no decisions that are going to be made out of this conversation. You just want to find out about him. And in that conversation, really, really listen and be okay with silence, because people will go silent and then the other feels that they have to just blah, 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 to eradicate the discomfort. But it's the discomfort in which people find the truth a lot of the time. Okay. So have a conversation with him and really listen, so that you can find out whether or not he genuinely believes these things, whether he genuinely wants a relationship with you, or even a woman. He could be so afraid of relationships and what a woman can do, because he's, again, there's so many YouTube channels and media places that talk about the fact that the justice system is, you know, unfair against men, and sometimes it is, or that, men's rights activists and men have no rights and all this nonsense, right? Like, I don't care about gender. I don't care about politics. I don't care about any of that shit. All I care about is one person and one person talking. That's what my relationship is. Me and my missus disagree on a lot of things, but we talk. I treat her as an individual, not as a woman, not as a generality, not as a group. I treat her as an individual, right? And so the question is, does this individual want to press false charges against me? Does this individual want to take me to the cleaners in a divorce? Because here's what you got to remember, okay? Relationships turn into legal contracts, okay? You have to trust this man, or you have to be able and willing to trust this man with earning money while you're pregnant, with the care of your children, with the finances, with the will, with being your power of attorney. These are very, very deep and important decisions that in this situation with the behavior he is exhibiting, I would not accept. I would not put my trust in a man that has these kind of outbursts, right? So those are the questions that I would be asking yourself and him. Now, you are the only one who knows how to do this. You are the only one that has the full information. But another thing I would do just before I go is, I'll let you know. You need to tell someone in your life that you trust that this has happened. If you've got someone like that, tell your mother or tell your father. Give them the full context, just so that they can be aware if something does go wrong. Because I don't know what can happen, but I know what can happen, right? So have a chat with him and just find out. Just find out if he really believes the things he believes, and if he's deflecting the questions, if he's obfuscating the questions, if he's trying to get past the question and not answering it. That's not good. That's really not good. If you can't get the truth out of someone, then you can't trust them. Because I only trust someone when I know what they want, when I know what their agenda is. And that goes for my missus, right? I know what my missus wants. I know her agenda. Her agenda is for me to have the best life, and for us to have the best life, and for her to have the best life, right? And she loves me. I know that, and she loves me more than she gets hurt by the dumb things I say or the silly things I do, right? But I don't know if you can say the same thing about this young man. So look, I hope this video helps. Please rewatch it if you forget certain things, and just take the little tidbits that work for you. Not everything I say is going to work for you, but this is just what I've kind of gleaned from life and just watching relationships for, nearly 20 years. I hope it helps, and good luck.